So in this section, basically, I will try to show you just a brief about SQL and Python. Earlier in the first last week lecture, I showed you how to use Python to create SQL tables and interact with those tables. But there are some just little basic things I just want to inform you on this other aspect about the bad practice of using these ways of inserting and selecting. I'll just show you insert and select basically just to show you that the first class we did, there is an issue with SQL injection, but I didn't tell you that because I just wanted you to have the basic understanding. And then I want to show you just in a quick tutorial here how to simply use a better way of inserting, selecting, updating values without just doing insert basically and select operation in a way where you can as well avoid SQL injection. So let's use a simple table of let's say a table. I already have a table created, but let's try to create a new table. Let's create a table employee. Actually, that's better. Let's create a table employee and employee one because I already have a table employee. So let's do that and see. So after creating the table, the next thing I want to show you here is you for those of you of course who are that you have some basic programming knowledge on how to create classes and all that. You can also use class while working with SQL and Python. In this example here, I have this employee class where I've specified the first name, last name, and the pay as first, last, and pay. And basically, this is a class we can call to create as many employees as we want. It's quite simple like that, and I will show you how to insert by using this class. But first of all, let me explain something. In the initial class, if you remember the way we did our, let me comment this place out first. The way we did our insert statement was to basically, yeah, I'll bring this down here and I will just comment that. I use that for commenting. Basically, this is a bad practice. What we normally do was just to insert this way, that just the string value straight away we insert that into the table. Let's try to insert this value into employee one and see employee one. Let's see how that goes. You see that works fine. So now we've inserted this. This works fine, but this is a bad practice, and that is just one thing I wanted you to know because if you have a website that basically accepts user input and all that, people can actually just manipulate your database by inserting different variables in the SQL statement. So that is something you have to be careful about because this way basically you open yourself into SQL injection. So that is just something I wanted you to know. And the best or the well, there are several ways to go about things, but a good way of doing that is rather by, let's say now we are using the class. So here we are using the employee class. So we want to insert, for example, Ben and Yari as an example here, and the pay as 5,000. So here we try to use the class we've created that I explained earlier. And in this execute function, we try to insert values. And over here, we put question mark instead of the quotation. We don't need to also add the quotation because basically the values will specify will let the computer or the system know if it's a string or not. So we replace here the values with a quotation mark, and we put in a tuple the first name, the last name, and the pay. So this is another way of also going about that, and using, of course, the class we've called. And you can do that by calling the class here, and that is possible because the class is also in the same directory as our insert file. So let's run this and see how that works. So that is done. So we can see that, and to show you that, you can simply um, open the database. Let's open the database. Now, let me show you that. So if you open the database employee one, you can see that Alexi has been added here to employee one. So Alexi and Yara was the first one we've added. So let's Oh, yes, a mistake. You can see why. You can see that we insert now into person instead of employee one. That is why this been going. Actually, it works. So let's change that into employee one. That is the reason why those values were not there. So let's insert into that. We run. That is successful. Now let's check. You will see that to refresh. You see Ben Yari and 5,000 has been inserted into the database. That is just to show you. So this is the better practice of how to do that. We can also do a select statement. The old way of selecting is for us to select this way and specify the string. One thing I didn't specify in the last class, and I just came to my mind now, and I just want to make you guys at least aware of that, is that while writing some Python query, we have this function of C fetch. So we have this fetch all. Fetch all basically selects returns all results of the query. While the fetch none basically returns just one result, one particular result, meaning one row out of the database. And if there is none, it basically brings back none. And the fetch menu here will specify the size of what we want to return. So that's the difference basically in this fetch. You can use that in your print statement. So here we will use just the fetch all, so we can fetch everything. And here, this is the old school, or maybe the old way of doing things, and this is susceptible to SQL injection, and this is a better way of writing this query. So let's say we run this now. Let's try to run this. Okay, invalid syntax. Okay, let's try to correct that. Where do we have the invalid syntax? And that is this, because we didn't close the bracket. So now let's try to run that again. So you can see now that the print statement here returns basically this, the first one, which is the normal one we used in the last class, and this is the new way I'm showing you. So this is just how to run your query in a way where you try to prevent SQL injection. I just wanted you guys to know that in this class it's quite basic, and just for you guys to be aware of it, since I didn't mention that in the last class. So that is just something, an addition for this week, for you guys to be aware of. Okay.